Hello, my name is Bob Schumacher. I'm Managing Director of User-Centric based in the United States. We are the largest user research and experience firm here in the US. I'm also a member of the User Experience Alliance, our company is, and we are very proud to be here today to talk a little bit about what we do in the area of healthcare. The role of user experience in healthcare has been very well developed in the space of medical devices, and it's only now beginning to be important in the area of health information technologies. In particular, user-centric works in both of those areas, and we find that much of it is motivated. There's two areas within healthcare that are very interesting for user research. One is devices, medical devices, and with medical devices, you find that there's a high emphasis, a very important emphasis on patient safety. We want to make sure that users can use the devices that they get, because sometimes if the instructions are wrong or the interface is wrong, it can seriously injure somebody or it can even cause death. So it's the governments around the world, and particularly in the US now, are paying a lot of attention to the human factors and to the user research that's associated with these devices. The other side of healthcare is health information technologies, which typically has not had a lot of emphasis within user research and usability, but we're seeing that increase more and more because the demands of medical and healthcare industries require the implementation and the installation of EHRs, or electronic health records. But what we find is that there are some spectacular failures in these systems. They get put into hospitals to many tens of millions of dollars without having ever been run in front of users. So they go in, the doctors look at them, they can't use them, it slows down patient care, it creates opportunities for error, and that the doctors reject them and they have to put in new systems, and this time they do a better job because they're actually paying attention to the users and improving the way that they work, improving the way that the users work, and improving the way that the technology works for the doctors and nurses. It reduces the cost of care, it reduces the risk to patients. So we find that if we pay attention, we can improve healthcare by applying user research methods and user experience in health information technologies. Just to give an example, if we look at certain kinds of medical devices, in this case I'm going to talk about an injection pen. Sometimes if you look at these injection pens, they have a cap on both ends. And the user is supposed to pull one end of the cap off, or pull the cap off of one end, and then they have to take the pen and jam it into their thigh, or push it into their thigh. And when they do that, there's a loud pop. And what we find by doing testing is that users have a very difficult time doing this because of the anticipated pain and the sound that comes along with it. So by doing a better job of engineering the cap and doing the testing with the users, we are able to increase the efficacy of the pen, the efficacy of the drug, and the drug delivery system itself. So we would never have discovered that if all we were doing was using an orange, for example, which is a typical way to do the testing. But we test with humans, not live, of course. We're testing into pads, but they get the feel of the device, and it really allows us a chance to understand how the device should be designed so that it is better for people when they have to deliver their drugs to themselves. I have an example from the use of an injection device. The injection device is about this long, and it's got two ends on it, and they look very similar to one another. And there's no cap on this device. So what the user does is they have to inject themselves with the drug. Well, when you pull the device out, you have to put it into yourself. But what sometimes people do is they put their thumb over the top. And when they go like this, if they don't have the correct end of the device pointed toward their leg, they wind up injecting the drug into their thumb. So what we did was we did the testing on this device to make sure that the design of the device itself had the right cues, had the right information to avoid a very painful and a very unfortunate incident. This is but one very simple example, and one that we can do a lot by applying user research methods and trying to do a much better job of engineering the kinds of information that we provide to users and provide to patients.